And we are back here with another video today. So, welcome to the Football Expert. I'm glad you have joined us. My name is Reichley Ruby, and today we are looking at Alabama football, their 2026 prediction here under the head coach, the newly extended head coach, Kalen DeBoer. After the big extension and then the commitment of the number one overall quarterback in the 2028 class, Elijah Haven. Been a good week for Alabama. Been a lot of good news coming out of both spring ball and then out of recruitment and extending Kalen DeBoer and everything like that. So it's been a really good news week for Alabama. A lot of good things going on there. But before we get into today's video, make sure that you like this video, subscribe down below, and let me know what your comments are as well. You can wait till the end of the video, but make sure that you put your prediction, what you think Alabama will be doing this season, what you think their record will be, and how do you think that they will do. So with no further ado, let's get into this video. So as we look at the schedule, start off with 2026, starting off with East Carolina is their first game at home. And this is kind of an interesting matchup because East Carolina, it's a team that honestly has had a little bit of been in the news a little bit lately with the Mr. Beast stuff. If you don't know, Mr. Beast, a big YouTuber and now a guy that has a TV show with Amazon, is a Greenville, North Carolina native. And I don't know whether he went to East Carolina, but he is in the area and was looking at like investing in their football program, giving them millions of dollars, stuff like that. So East Carolina, a team that it could be interesting in the next coming years, but right now, East Carolina, easy victory for the Crimson Tide. I don't think that there should be any issues here like you had in week 1 against Florida State last year, but I think that you should have an easy win there. Then you have a road game against Kentucky, and this is a very interesting game. Will Stein, the new head coach at Kentucky, has had some success in the transfer portal, brought in Kenny Minchie, the backup quarterback at Notre Dame, like the addition there, like a few more additions that he's brought in the running back room and then on the defensive end as well. So I like the additions that he's brought in, but at the end of the day, this is an Alabama team that I just think is in a much better spot than Kentucky for obvious reasons. They did not play last year, but Alabama is still going to get the win over Kentucky, though it could be interesting. We'll see what happens with that game. Because Alabama had a lot of close games last year, a 3-point win against Georgia, 3-point win against Missouri, 7-point win against South Carolina, 11-point win against LSU, 7-point win against Auburn. So a lot of closer games throughout the season. So very interesting to see whether Alabama has any of those close games early, especially with a loss to Florida State early on in the season. And all those games that I said were wins. They were wins, but they were close wins, which at the end of the day, a win is a win that is a win. That's the most important thing, especially when it comes to a difficult schedule like Alabama's. Then you have the Seminoles coming to town, and this is a team that we talked about a little bit earlier. Beat Alabama last year. Just a crazy bonkers of a game. Lost 31-17 there in the Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. A team in Mike Norvell that really had very low expectations going into last year. You had the Tommy Castellanos coming over from Boston College to be their quarterback. But honestly, I don't think Florida State is in a good place right now. To be fair, I picked Alabama to win that game last year, and I'm going to pick them to win this game again this year. So I could be wrong again. I'm a little bit more hesitant to say that, but I think that it is going to be a win for the Crimson Tide. I think that Florida State is an easy win, or at least it should be. And Mike Norvell is on the hot seat, I feel like, with Florida State. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I think Norvell is on the hot seat enough to be able to say that he is going to have some struggles in a game at Alabama. Continuing this homestand game against South Carolina, second SEC game of the year, going to be a very interesting matchup against Shane Beamer's squad. And I have this as a win for the Crimson Tide. But I think that this is the first game that I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not really sure on. This could be an interesting matchup. It's a team that Alabama, you got a quarterback battle between Austin Mack and then Keelan Russell. I haven't seen them name a quarterback. I could have missed something. So let me know in the comment section down below if I've missed anything yet. But still, Austin Mack, I think, is projected or is probably going to be the starter. Will be one of the few transfer starters since I think 2000 something. With those two transfers being Jake Coker and then Tyler Buckner for just a game. So Austin Mack, a very interesting transfer. We'll see what he can do. Had a little bit of opportunities behind Ty Simpson last year, but not too much going on in that category as he transferred from Washington with Kalen DeBoer. So very interested to see how he does. Obviously, the wide receiver core at Bama still has a lot of really good pieces, especially Ryan Coleman Williams now, and then Noah Rogers, the transfer junior, should also have an interesting season. He came over from NC State, should be a good outside type of guy, a good boundary wide receiver. We'll see who plays in that slot there for Alabama. I haven't seen anything for sure, but this defense, only one transfer, that being Kendrick Bentley Jones. So very interesting to see what happens. There are a lot of similar players on this roster. Did lose a lot of players to the draft. I should mention that they definitely did lose some, but still also a lot of players coming back. So you got to win there against South Carolina. But Lenore Sellers and that defense and Dylan Stewart, we'll see how South Carolina is doing. But before I could even make a more interesting call, I have Alabama winning that game. Then you have a road game against Mississippi State. I think that this is an easy win for Alabama. I just don't think that Mississippi State's in a great place right now as a program. I'm not saying I don't think Jeff Lebby will be a good head coach, and I've been wrong about head coaches. I was wrong about Tony Elliott, had a great season last year. I don't know whether he's going to be a great coach all time, but he obviously had a good year last year. So I think that it's going to be a win. I don't see problems for Alabama, but we'll see what happens with it. I'm very intrigued to see what happens, but you never know. It is possible that it could be a victory for the Bulldogs in Starkville in that early October timeframe, but we'll see. I have it as a win for the Crimson Tide. Then a home game against Georgia, and I know a lot of Alabama fans are going to be mad at this pick, but I have this as a loss in favor of the Bulldogs. I think that the Georgia is just a better team right now with the little iffy stuff at quarterback. I'm just not 100% sure where Alabama will be at that point, so I'm going to give the loss to Alabama. But we'll see. I could be convinced otherwise. I'm just not really sure right now. So I'm going to have that as a win for the Bulldogs, a loss for the Crimson Tide. So quick loss there. Then moving on, you have a road game against the rival in Tennessee. Very interesting matchup here against Josh Heupel's Volunteers. Heupel, an excellent, superb head coach. But right now, I just don't see Tennessee being able to pull off an upset here, even in Knoxville. So I have a win for the Crimson Tide there. Moving on, you have a home game against the Aggies. You got the bye week and then LSU and then Vanderbilt. So very tough 3-game stretch here with a bye week in between. If this game was at A&M, I'd probably pick A&M. But right now, with this game being at Alabama, I'm going to go with the Crimson Tide by a small margin. I could very well see them losing this game because A&M and Mike Elko, I think, is a top 3 head coach in this league right now, which I know is a crazy thing to say, but I think he's a top 3 head coach in this league. So I think that he's up there. I think that with the quarterback situation coming back and everything like that, they have good wide receivers. Their defense is always going to be superb under Mike Elko. So I have a win for Alabama there, but maybe it could be a loss. It very much could be. Bye week, then at LSU, and this is where I am going to have a loss. I'm not saying that Lane Kiffin is the better coach, but with it being at LSU, Even Brian Kelly beat Nick Saban at LSU in his first year. So I think that it's very possible to get a loss here. So I think Alabama gets their second loss of the season at LSU. Tough game because the Tigers, you're going to have the transfer in of Sam Leavitt at quarterback, a lot of interesting players there. So I think a lot of help coming in for Lane Kiffin. Then you also have the wide receiver position, which is always going to be stacked and loaded. The running back position a little bit weaker at LSU this year. We'll see. I could be wrong about that by the end of the year, but just not sure who becomes the star running back for him this year. Then you have I believe a road game against Vanderbilt. Last time you went on to Vanderbilt, Kalen DeBoer suffered his first loss there. Really crazy game there for Alabama last year. Obviously got the 30-14 win against the Commodores. Really hurting the Commodores season there. I think that the Alabama is able to get another win here. Vanderbilt in a little bit of a rebuilding phase in terms of losing Eli Stowers, losing Diego Pavia. So I think that even though you brought in the 5-star superb athlete that I'm blanking on his name from the Nashville area, that was the quarterback that was originally committed to Georgia but went to Vanderbilt, even though I think he could be really good, right now I think Alabama's the better team. Win there for the Crimson Tide. Easy win against Chattanooga, the FCS squad. No comments there. Easy win, no problem. Then you have the final game of the regular season against Auburn. And with this game being at Alabama, I'm going to have it as a win for the Crimson Tide. But if it was at Auburn, I'd be very intrigued to see how Alex Golesh does in his first season at Auburn. It could be fighting for bowl eligibility at this point. It could be fighting for that 8-4 mark for Alex Golesh at Auburn. So I do have Alabama continuing their streak of dominance in this rivalry at the moment, but you never know. It is a rivalry game for a reason, as Alabama fans watching this video very well know anything can happen in the Iron Bowl on any given day. So that wraps up today's video. So hit one of the 2 videos down below. It will be a podcast of all of my college football predictions. Hit that down below if you're wanting to see some more. Hit the subscribe button up here as well, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.